welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So today we're taking your sources, and this one is, well, quite a chronicle. And we're pulling out those insights, those moments that give you a fresh perspective. And the topic. It's this hitchhiking journey of a young person across Africa. It's a story just packed with unexpected events, real reliance on inner wisdom, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the source material is really interesting. Lots of personal stories, reflections, vivid descriptions of encounters. It's quite rich.
Right. And the mission for you listening is really to see what we can learn from this. What perspectives can we glean about, navigating uncertainty, trusting your gut feeling, recognizing guidance when it shows up unexpectedly.
It's definitely more than just a travel story. It feels like a study in how we cope when the usual plans fall apart.
Yeah.
These anecdotes, they offer some pretty powerful insights, I think, into intuition and finding support where you least expect it.
Okay, so let's get into it. The beginning. India. Our traveler is what, 19?
This 19, yeah.
With 3 friends, Kali, Cookie, and Tess. And they have this big plan, hitchhike from Kenya down to South Africa.
Quite an undertaking at that age.
Totally. And before they even leave India, there's this conversation with their teacher, Maharaj Ji.
Right. And he basically tells them, look, you'll survive, but you're going to have, and I think the quote is, a hell of a lot of adventures.
Which certainly turned out to be true. That really sets the tone, doesn't it?
It does. It's almost like foreshadowing. And they get a taste of it almost right away. They take the train from Delhi to Bombay.
Another adventure in itself, I imagine.
Definitely. And they arrive and bam, realize they've lost the directions to the ashram where they're supposed to stay.
Oh, no. Okay, typical panic moment for most people, right?
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But the source describes the traveler's reaction as laughing.
Laughing, okay.
Yeah, laughs, and then they all pile into a taxi. With no address to give the driver. None at all.
So what do? Just drive around hoping?
Well, this is where it gets fascinating. Instead of panic, the traveler just sort of tunes in, closes their eyes.
Right.
And for the next, 45 minutes, guides this completely bewildered taxi driver through Bombay.
So
just by saying left, right, straight, based purely on this inner feeling. Not logic, not memory, just intuition.
wow. 45 minutes of that.
Yeah. It's this incredible trust, especially when everything external is chaotic and unknown. It really highlights that maybe the best navigation sometimes comes from inside.
And the result?
Unbelievably, they pull up directly right to the ashram door. Not nearby, not down the street, exactly there.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And the traveler's reaction.
Just quiet acceptance, according to the source. Like, okay, this works. Not shock, but confirmation.
Yeah, it feels like a really powerful sort of demonstration early on of this theme of inner guidance that runs through the whole story.
Exactly. It's that trust in something beyond just the rational mind. It's like a mini version of the whole African journey to come facing the unknown by trusting that internal compass.
Okay, speaking of things that are, well, hard to explain logically, there's another Bombay story. It involves Maharaj Ji again, and someone else, an initiator named Asokananda.
Right, this one's quite unique. Maharaj Ji, sort of unexpectedly, just points his hand towards Asokananda.
Yeah.
And the effect is immediate, like physically immediate. Asokananda describes his hair standing on end, feeling this intense energy like he'd, quote, grasped the lightning or stuck his hand in a light socket.
Whoa. Intense.
Super intense. He actually asks Maharaj Ji to stop.
How long did this go on for?
About 20 seconds, the source says. Just this visible energy transfer.
Okay, but then it gets even stranger, right? Because our young traveler pipes up.
Yeah, showing that youthful, maybe slightly cheeky side, asks Maharaj Ji if he'd zap him once more.
Seriously? After the guy asked him to stop?
Seriously. And Maharaj Ji just agrees. Does it again, though maybe shorter this time.
That's wild. What was the mood then? Awkward? Tense?
You'd think maybe, but no. The small group of Westerners who were there, they just burst out laughing.
Laughter. After that.
Shared laughter, yeah. It's this really strange mix, isn't it? Something profound, maybe even a bit scary, happening in this very informal, lighthearted way.
It does kind of ground it, though. Makes it feel real. It's mentioned as their first sort of close, informal time with Maharaj Ji, and it blends the sacred and the playful.
Exactly. It suggests that maybe these deep experiences don't always have to be, super solemn or heavy. There can be joy mixed in. The source even hints at that, like power isn't just thunderbolts, but also that shared spark of laughter. Makes you think.
Definitely. Okay, let's move ahead a bit. They're getting ready to leave India for Kenya. The big trip is about to start.
Right, another encounter with Maharaj Ji.
And this one involves holy water, or, well, water that becomes holy. Our traveler has this basic metal canteen.
Simple canteen, yeah. And Maharaj Ji's way of blessing it is, well, it's certainly not traditional.
No kidding. What does he do?
He puts his foot right into the opening of the canteen.
His foot.
His foot. Straight in.
Okay. Reaction.
Laughter, again. Everyone there just cracks up. It's so unexpected, maybe a bit irreverent on the surface, but clearly meant as a blessing. Kind of challenges your ideas of what a sacred act looks like.
I'll see. So they take this foot-blessed water.
They do. They drink it on the flight to Kenya. The traveler, Kali, Kathleen, and Tess.
And the effect is memorable.
Yeah. They describe feeling rip-roaring drunk, but not like sloppy drunk. It was joy, lightness, this incredible euphoria.
Wow. High on holy water. How did they even get off the plane?
Somehow they managed it, landed in Nairobi. They stayed briefly with Tessa's parents there. And the traveler mentions being really struck by how beautiful Kenya was, unexpectedly so.
Okay. And then something else happens there, right? While meditating.
Yeah, another one of these non-physical appearances. While meditating outside, in the backyard.
Maharaj Ji again.
Maharaj Ji again. Not physically there, but a very clear presence. And what was he doing?
Laughing. Let me guess.
Laughing, just laughing. A deep, resonant laugh.
Huh. It feels like a confirmation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
After the foot water and the promise of adventures, like a sign saying, yep, I'm with you, and it's going to be okay, even fun.
Exactly. It connects right back to that earlier promise. You'll survive, you'll have adventures, and maybe, just maybe, there's a cosmic joke or joy woven into it all. A wink from the universe.
Okay, so the trek proper begins. Hitchhiking south from Kenya.
And reality bites pretty much immediately. First night out on the Kenyan plains.
What happens?
A massive, sudden rainstorm, just violent.
Where did they shelter?
These simple grass huts they found, but they woke up completely drenched, everything soaked, in a sea of mud.
Oof. Welcome to Africa.
Yeah, a very quick, very humbling lesson. Any romantic ideas about the trip probably got washed away right there.
Then they hit the border, trying to get into Tanzania. And a familiar problem for travelers.
Visas. Or rather, no visa.
Yeah, and how did they handle this?
Well, there was a difference in approach. Kali, understandably, got pretty agitated, frustrated.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
But our traveler, again, had this different instinct. Stayed quiet, respectful towards the border official.
Following that inner sense again.
Seems like it. It was tense. They got taken into a room. The official was angry, especially at Kali, threatening jail time for both of them.
Oh, wow. So what happened? Did they get thrown in jail?
No. Amazingly, the official lets the traveler go, specifically because, he said, they'd been a gentleman, even though he was still mad at Kali.
So that quiet respect actually worked.
It did. It's another echo of that Bombay taxi ride, isn't it? Trusting something other than just assertion or logic and getting the surprising result.
It really is. Okay, so they're in Tanzania. What else stood out?
Well, they saw something quite striking. Thousands of Chinese workers building a railroad. The source mentions just how uniform their expressions were, just weary. A real snapshot of massive labor.
And then things get a bit scary.
Yeah, a really unsettling ride they hitched. Two black African men. They're driving along, then suddenly stop the car, get out, and shoot two cows by the side of the road.
Just like that, cows.
Cows. But then they came back to the car and told the traveler and Kali that they'd shot elephants.
Elephants? Why would they say that? That must have been terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying. The fear comes through really strongly in the description.
What do? Do they argue?
No. Their instinct was pure self-preservation. They just agreed, nodded along, understood immediately that you do not argue in a situation like that.
Smart move. But wow, what a stark reminder of the unpredictability, the potential danger.
Definitely. Adventure isn't always scenic vistas. Sometimes it's real fear knowing when to just, well, agree that the cows are elephants.
And the challenges didn't stop there.
No, there was this really uncomfortable night in some small jungle town, super humid heat, and the only food was this soup full of mosquitoes.
Oh, mosquito soup. Did they get sick?
Incredibly, no. Pure luck they didn't get malaria or something worse. The source has this line, something like, adventure is not always majestic mountains. Sometimes it is mosquito soup.
And the wisdom to agree with tales of elephants. Yeah, that sums it up. Okay, another night, another storm.
Yes, another huge thunderstorm. This one literally blew their tent away while they were sleeping.
Oh my God. So they wake up. Where?
In the mud again. Cold, wet, completely disoriented. Just lying there in the aftermath. You can imagine feeling pretty low at that point.
Absolutely rock bottom, probably.
But then, in that state, the traveler looks up,
And sees, don't tell me,
sees Maharaj Ji again, this time perched up on the telephone poles along the road.
on the telephone poles.
Yeah.
Okay. And his expression.
Laughing. Again, just laughing amidst all this mud and wreckage and discomfort.
It's such a recurring image. What do you make of that? Why the laughter in these really tough moments? Is it perspective? A cosmic joke?
It's powerful, isn't it? Maybe it's a reminder that even when things feel awful, utterly chaotic from our limited view, there's still joy possible, or that the bigger picture is somehow okay. It's like he's constantly nudging towards a different way of seeing the struggle.
A presence of joy even in the chaos.
Huh.
Okay, so things seem pretty rough. But then they reach Zambia and the energy shifts completely.
Yeah, big time. They meet up with Tess again, hitchhike with her to Lusaka, the capital.
Right.
And literally moments after they arrive in Lusaka, Kali and Kathleen show up too, almost like it was planned, though it wasn't.
Just synchronized.
Pretty much. And then almost immediately, out of the blue, this Zambian man, Gary, approaches them, offers them a place to stay at his dairy farm out in the countryside.
Total strangers. Just offers hospitality.
Complete strangers, incredible kindness. And this is crucial. At this point, they have absolutely no money left. Zero.
Broke. Hitchhiking. And suddenly offered a place to stay.
Exactly. But it gets even more unlikely. It turns out Gary's uncle
Yes.
is the president of national television in Zambia.
You're kidding. From broke hitchhikers to... What?
To being invited for an interview on national TV.
Get out. That's unbelievable.
Isn't it? Imagine that turnaround.
Yeah.
And the interview itself, the traveler is there in simple Indian white clothes, no shoes.
Barefoot on national TV.
Barefoot. The interviewer is apparently very sincere, really interested. And it's not just a quick segment. It lasts for a full hour.
An hour. What was the reaction?
Overwhelming. Hundreds of phone calls flooded the station. People were just fascinated, curious, resonated with something.
Wow.
So much so they were invited back the next day for another interview.
Incredible. And did things change for them after that?
Dramatically. The local Indian community in Zambia heard about them through the broadcasts.
Oh, okay.
And suddenly they're getting invitations everywhere, to people's homes, to temples. They start giving little talks, sharing their story, their experiences.
Of the reception.
They were treated basically like royalty. People gave them gifts, money, washes, new clothes.
From having nothing to. Wow.
And the food. Oh my goodness, the food. The source talks about these huge spreads being laid out for them. They were eating like 6 huge meals a day because everyone wanted to host them.
That's almost comical. The shift from mosquito soup to 6 feasts a day.
It's such a powerful example, isn't it, of how when you're open, maybe when you've hit bottom and just trust, the universe can provide in the most unexpected, abundant ways.
Yeah, the source says something like, when your pockets are empty, watch for the universe to fill your plate.
That's the one. It perfectly captures that Zambian experience. Total lack, followed by overwhelming abundance, seemingly out of nowhere.
So, wrapping up this deep dive into such an amazing story, some key things really stand out for me. That constant reliance on inner guidance, first off.
Definitely. Trusting that gut feeling even when it seemed illogical.
And just how unexpected, profound experiences can be. You know, the energy thing, the foot blessing, the laughter.
Right, not fitting into neat boxes. And then that theme of abundance showing up right when things seem most scarce, like in Zambia.
Exactly. And for you listening, hoping for those aha moments or new ways of seeing things, this story is just full of them.
It really is. It kind of suggests we might underestimate our own intuition sometimes. Or maybe we don't see the surprising ways support can actually arrive in our lives.
Yeah. So maybe the thought to leave you with is this. Think about those quieter signals in your own life. That subtle guidance. Are you maybe overlooking it sometimes?
Yeah.
And maybe consider how the challenges you're facing right now, the muddy moments, might actually hold some hidden chance for joy or connection or maybe even abundance down the line.
Like looking up at the telephone wire.
Exactly. What are the telephone wires in your life? What surprising message might be waiting there if you just look up and really notice?